Hello and welcome to my craft room. My name's Tina, this is Simply in Stitches. If you are a regular here, you will notice that I've moved around a little bit. I'm sitting in a different place, and that is because I have so much to talk about. I needed the extra table space. So I've actually got notes this time. I don't usually have notes, but there's so much I want to talk about and I don't want to miss anything out. In today's videos we have whips, what I've been working on. I'm going to be talking about my new knitting notebook that I'm using and how I'm using it. We have incoming yarn, we have the poll results from the poll. Thank you so much for all taking part last week, really interesting. And also how that has affected how I'm using my socks. Spoiler alert, I'm still wearing them on my feet. Now there is a seasonal rotation going on now, so yes, I hope you'll be interested in that as well. So let's start off with whips first. No update on the whip more because I'm just knitting on the sleeve, so there's not really anything of interest to show you this time. So moving on to Foxy. So I've got this in my box, I've got all my pieces and things. So this is from Knitted Animal Friends and I'm knitting Charlotte in the centre there. And so I've actually done a little picture, I'll put it there if I can. So I have all the pieces now, so they're all knitted flat and then you have to sew them up. So I've got the tummy, already had her face, and then we've got the tail, and then two arms, ears, and legs. The legs are so long. So there's a foot there that you have to sew up the top, and then her pads are cream coloured, and then look at the length on the legs. Literally, when I measured her, she is the length of my arm she's going to be. So yes, she is much bigger. Even though I've seen them, you still think, toy, small. No, that's why it's taken so long to knit, I think. I thought I was going to be finished this last month. So now I have all those body parts. I need to sew them up. So that is going to be for next week now. And stuffing. So cross fingers, because yeah, it's not something I usually do, toy making, and it's been a long time since I've sewn any knitting up, so we see how I get on with that. I would say if you are going to make one of these, I think, because I started with the face, but I think the face is the hardest part. So I would say if somebody else was going to start doing this, start doing one of the other body parts first, just to get used to knitting your yarn on those size needles. I complicated it for myself because I was holding 2 4-ply double and they were quite small needles, so I've got a very tight gauge on this, but I wanted that because of the stuffing. So, but I would say start off with an easier body part and then move on to the face once you've got used to that, because most of it is straight with the other body parts and you're not actually doing so much intarsia. So for the body part, this was fine because I had 2 of the brown and 1 of the cream balls, so I was working with 3 balls at the same time, so I wasn't carrying any of the yarn across there. So that's how I was doing that. I was using the Drops alpaca yarn for it, as I said, holding it double. And I have got loads left. So I am thinking I need to make some Foxy mitts. I forgot to write down the details of it, but I'll put a picture up of the ones that I'm talking about. So obviously these are fox colours, so I think I've got about 70 grams of each. Because I didn't use the recommended yarn, I knew I wasn't going to have enough of the yarn because I was holding it double, and so to make sure I just ordered 2 more balls. 2 more balls or 1 more ball? 2 more balls, I think. I just way overestimated. But that's fine because I'm going to have some lovely knits to go with. So yes, that is the plan for those leftovers, because I like to use all of my leftovers. I loved my yarn choice for making this. I really like how it has come out, and because it's alpaca, it's got that furriness to it. But I'm undecided what I'm going to do about the eyes, because in the pattern the eyes are buttons, and first of all I thought, oh, I'm going to be clever and embroider eyes on there. Oops. And then I thought, there's a big chance that's going to turn out looking sinister or just plain strange. So then I thought, well, what about something like French knots? So now I've gone complete circle. Now I'm thinking, am I better off doing eyes? Because the way it looks like the eyes are pulled through, so it actually makes a dent in when you're stuffing. So you get that going in where the eye is. So I'm undecided on eyes, so I think I'm going to wait until I've actually made it up and then decide. I haven't checked yet, but I'm sure the way that is pulled in, that you sew the eyes on and pull it and then snip it, so you get that pulling in of the fabric. So yeah, undecided that. I've also got to embroider his nose on, so that will tell me how easy it is to embroider on there. So that is how I'm getting on with my fox. Next project is my Aurora cabin shawl by Stephen West. I have this in a basket. Oops. I still have my Brussels sprout. Thank you, Sue. A Brussels sprout isn't just for Christmas, it's for all year. So it's a little crocheted Brussels sprout. So this big pile in here is my Aurora shawl. And so when I saw you last time, I think I was coming to the end of the stripes. It should go up. Whoops, I'm trying to keep a hold on it. It's supposed to go that way. And I'm just starting this section that is up here, is just being repeated down under the stripes. So I would like to say thank you to Mandy from Mouse's Makes, because she was kind enough to do a demonstration on her last podcast. I'll link it down below, showing me how she is hiding all the different strands, because at some point you do have all 5 of the different colours going connected at the same time. And you hide them in like the I-cord edging down this side. And when I was up here on this other part, I was cutting it off because I was overwhelmed. 5 colours at once, and seeing all this, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm never going to manage that. So I thought I'll just cut them off just to keep it manageable, so I don't end up with a rat's nest. And so I've woven in all those ends that I did last time, but I really wanted to do it the proper way this time. And so I've only got 4 colours on the go at the moment, but I've just started off just hiding them in that edge in there as I go. But it seems more complicated than it is, that section, because you only actually have one colour. You're only actually knitting one colour at a time. So if I show you this at the top, this last row, you'll see, hopefully, that I've got 3 colours there. I've got this colour that I'm knitting with at the moment, then you've got a bit of the coral colour, and also the red one, and you can see the red one's a slip stitch, but I'm just slipping those coral ones as well. So whenever there's all the fancy work going on, it looks like you might have more than one colour going on. Really, all that's going on is your slipping stitches, so it's not as hard as it looks. The only part that I find a bit fiddly is when you have to do a bit of a cable when you're securing those slip stitches down. So I've got 3 colours on this side, and that's where you always start your colour from, and I've got 1 colour because I've got to travel back again now. And yeah, so I've got 1 more colour to add on. The cream is coming in next time. So then I'll have all 5 colours to do at the edges. So yes, oh, dropped them. So it does take some managing, but with practice it just gets easier and I'm getting used to it, but it's getting very big now. It's the biggest shawl I've ever done, let's put it that way. So I've still got plenty of colours in here. As I say, I'm keeping it all in this basket because I find it easier than having it in a project bag, and I can just lay this on top rather than putting it in a bag and getting it back out again. So that's how I'm managing that. So I'm really enjoying it. It is a bit of a challenge because it's something different. But as I say, each part isn't actually different. As I always say, one stitch at a time and just, yeah, take it steady. And it's working out well, so I'm really pleased. I am looking forward to the next section. The next section is going to be the beige and the coral. And that is going to be sort of, it looks like little boxes, but that's a slip stitch section as well. So I think those two colours are going to look really nice together. I've not used a lot of the coral yet. I've used a lot more of the red, which is my favourite colour, and this is my second favourite colour. So I'm really looking forward to having more of that into the shawl. I do feel like I'm slightly behind and yeah, I want to catch up. But it's one of those projects where you have got to be organised, and once you have set out, you've got the colours around you, you don't want to have to get up and down. So it has to be a time when you know you're going to have some decent knitting time as well. So I will get there, but it is slow going at the moment. But as I say, part of that is because of me, just because I've not done one of these before. So, but I'm relaxing into it now. Moving on to the next project, and this is my Woodland walk socks, and it's by this Handmade Life. I'm knitting these on Drops Nord, and it's colour 10, which is a green. It's a very yellowy green, this one. It has got a bit of, it's not different colours, but you can see where there's more yellowy than greeny. It is supposed to be a block. It is supposed to be a block colour. So I've not got very far. So I don't need to, I was just starting the pattern last time we spoke, and I have got a little bit further, so I'll put it on my hand, probably would be best. Pull it out. So because it's fluffy yarn, it's an alpaca sock yarn, so it is fluffier, but you can still see the pattern when it's stretched out. So it's got these like leaves coming down. So I'm really liking this. I think I want to do another half a leaf on the picture because it just says go as long as you want to, and so this is a little bit short for me. I like about 6 inches on the top of my socks. I find that they are more likely to slip down if sort of like start going under. When I'm wearing my boot slippers, it tends to try and drag my socks down. If they're longer, they stay up better than if they're shorter. So yeah, I'm going to do like this side on here. I'm going to do another half a leaf, I think, and then I shall do the heel. So yeah, really enjoying those. I'm thinking about, because I want to put these into Dear's Designs, Denise's Year of the Socks, and the prompt is snowdrops this time, and because I want to enter them in that, I was trying to get away with, what was it, Woodland Walk, looking for snowdrops. But then when I was watching Denise on her video, she was saying she was thinking about embroidering some snowdrops onto her socks. And I thought, oh, that's a good idea. So maybe, because I didn't want to actually knit any white into it, I'm thinking maybe put like some little snowdrops at the top or something, just a few, just round this edge, and not where the actual pattern is, but just round. I thought where the ribbon comes down, that could be like a stalk, because their heads hang down. I'll try and put a picture here. Their heads hang down. I thought if I use like a daisy stitch, just like 3 half a daisy hanging down. Would that sort of look like snowdrops? I don't know. I think I'll give it a try, do one and see what I think when it's actually made. It might look completely rubbish, but I'll give it a go. So that is my plan with those. But they need to be finished by the end of the month. Speaking of socks, have you seen that from Rico they have got a new sock yarn I saw in Simply Knitting magazines? I can get the Simply Knitting magazine on my Borrow Box, which is the library app. It's a free service, and I was flicking through that and I saw that they've got a new sock yarn, and it's in a balls and they're calling it the football, and apparently there's 6 different colours, and it's a standard 75-25 sock yarn, and it's supposed to be inspired by football team sock colours. So I've only seen 3 of the colours, so I don't know what the others are, but I thought it looks quite fun and it'd be nice to try that. Another one to try. Always like to try different sock yarn. It is £8.45 for 100 grams, so that's comparable to the price of West Yorkshire Spinners. So yes, if I see some, I will definitely look to have a go with some of that. Hopefully they've got a colour that would suit my year of socks and I can slip it in somewhere. But yeah, I've not seen them on Wool Warehouse or anything yet, so I should think they'll be coming into stores soon. So look out for that if you're interested in those. Next project is my scrappy sock yarn project, and this is my crochet granny stripe blanket. And still being addictive, it is the 4-ply fingering weight sock yarn, but I am crocheting it on a 3mm needle, so it's quite an open gauge, because what I want to do with this is it's going to be my out in the garden one. So what I want to be able to do is be able to put it on my chair and then like wrap it around. So I want it to be quite big, so it's a nice blanket so I can just go outside and just enjoy the garden when it's a bit chilly with my cup of coffee. So I'm loving all these pops of colour. Ooh. Getting all tangled up now. So yeah, it's getting quite big. But when there's different colours, you just want to keep going, don't you? Instead of knitting on my socks. Because this has been my easy project. I'm thinking of putting it into the Take It Easy cow. It's Danny's make along from My Yarny Corner, and he wanted, that's his little catchphrase, take it easy. So he wanted to have a little knit along. And this is definitely my just sit and enjoy and just keep going and going and going. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's just a make along for anything. I'll have to check, but I thought that would definitely qualify if it is, because it is so easy to do, even for a non-crocheter. So I managed to stop myself because I'm just on cream yarn at the moment, but I'm excited to get to the orange inside there. That's a bit of drops Nord from my socks on in there. I'm not going to, when I finish these ones, like this is the alpaca, the same as the fox. I won't include this because this is 100% alpaca and I'll be scared. I want to be able to put it in the washing machine on a wool wash, and I don't know how that would hold up. I know that I can put the Nord's alpaca sock yarn in my machine. I'm not saying everyone can in their machine. Don't follow what I do. It's not alpaca, generally you don't put it in the washing machine, it doesn't like it, but I have got away with it with this yarn, so I'm confident in my blanket I can do it. But I wouldn't do that with 100% alpaca. I don't think, because it hasn't got the added ingredients, I don't think it would like it at all. So yeah, so that is it. I've got my little progress keeper there. Oops. And that is from Rose's Knitting Shed. She includes those with her yarn, hand-dyed yarn. So that comes in very useful for just keeping that last stitch, so I can just carry on next time. So that is that project. That is my last whip. I would like to keep down to about 3 whips. This doesn't count because this is just an ongoing using up scraps project. So, but I think 3 projects is my happy zone really, more than that, and I don't feel like I'm making progress on anything. So I have got a little bit too much on the go at the moment, but I have just finished the knitting on Fox. So who knows what will happen next week? You might find out a little bit later. Moving on now to my little knitting notebook. And this was a gift at Christmas from my oldest stepdaughter. Mean looking cat. That's what she thinks of me. She knows me so well. So all it is, this book is just a plain lined book. And I thought I want to just keep, not so much my progress, but to have it monthly, what I'm doing, so I can plan and be able to look back what happened the month before to help me plan what I want to do the following month. So I've kept the first page blank because that's going to be my index if I want to find pages, and I'm going to number the pages. And then so for January, I've just got, and it's not going to be all stickers, nice handwriting or anything. This is not going to be a separate hobby that I'm going to spend time and money on. This is just literally to put down things to remember and to help me with my podcast as well. So first of all, I've just got my whips, what I'm carrying over from the month before. I want those to be different every month. So that is somewhere that it's going to highlight to me if I'm taking the same whips from week to week, from month to month, I'll know that I need to concentrate on them more and they're not getting done. So I've just got the name of the project, the designer. I'm going to put the size for sweaters and things, so I know if I want to knit that again, what size. So that would tell me if I'm thinking, oh, I would have liked to, after wearing it for a while, would I have liked it to be a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller? I'll know what size I chose. It also tells me what yarn I used, so I can refer back to that. And that's all the information I'm doing on that. Then I've got new casts on, so what did I start in that month? And I'm also going to put what finishes I've had, so I'll know what I finished in that month as well. So that is as easy as it's going to be, really. That is my intense planning. And so I just thought that would help me just keep track. And because I become overwhelmed if I've got too much going on, I just thought that it would just keep me accountable to myself. No one's given me rules apart from myself, and that's only because I know from all my knitting that if I do jump on every bandwagon and do everything, then I don't enjoy my knitting as much. It's fun to start new things, and I know a lot of people like to have lots of whips, but I prefer to actually get in the zone with a whip, and I find that knitting is easier for myself if I know the pattern, especially something like the Stephen West. If I knit on it regularly, then it's easier than if I put it aside and then come back in a couple of weeks. I'll be, oh, what did I do? What was I doing? So for me, I think this will help keep me on track. So it was a very good present and I'm really enjoying it. And it's going to be interesting to see at the end of the month what whips are carried over. I don't want them to be carried over because all those whips came from December, so I really don't want to carry them over. And also what new starts I've had and what I got finished in that month as well. Okay, next section is new to the craft room. So what have I had incoming? Well, first of all, because I've shared my organisation, and I definitely want to keep all my knitting, all my yarn in that set of drawers. So I'm not going to be buying lots of different things. I buy with a project in mind, and all those drawers are full really at the moment. But I wanted to kit up. I don't know what you call it in. Is there a proper term in knitting for when you're pulling all your elements together for a project. In cross stitch we call it kitting it up. So I've been kitting up my next project for a sweater, and I'm going to be knitting the holiday pullover by Petite Knits. And so I showed you before that I'm using Yarn Smith's Create in Super Junkie. So this is a yarn from Wool Warehouse. It's their own brand now that they've brought out. It's in deep denim, and so I am getting all my elements together to make that. And I didn't have the needles because I needed a size 10 circular needle for this, so I purchased the Smart Sticks, and that is how they look. Sorry for the glare. I've used these type of needles before and really like them. I think they feel nice in hand, and yeah, just ease of knitting. So I'm looking forward to using those ones, and I like the different colours. Each different size is a different colour, and they have the different colour wires as well. So yes, it's very pleasing. So I bought those, and I also needed some other needles. I bought the same type in a different size for another project while I was on there, because you get free shipping for £25, so it makes sense to make it up to £25 for things that I'm going to be knitting in the future rather than doing little orders. So to make up, after I bought 2 sets of needles, I bought some yarn. So this is sock yarn because I haven't got a lot of sock yarn in there, and I am doing Year of socks. So the first thing I picked up was King Cole Zigzag, and I don't think I've used the King Cole Zigzag yarn before. This is the standard sock yarn, 75% wool, 25% nylon. Do they call it nylon? Yes, they do. And this is the colour. I don't think I've got the colour down. I haven't written the colour down, but it's colour 4810. And I thought it looks like a muted Cadbury's cream egg. I shall put a picture to show you. If you're not in the UK, you don't know what they are. And yeah, one of the prompts is Easter, and so I was thinking this could be my Easter colourway. So that is going to be for that. And then I picked up, I am collecting the Nord sock yarns. I really love the Nord sock yarn, and I wanted to collect more of the colours, and this is my favourite colour I think in the range. So it's called Plum, but it's very much a purpley deep pink, and it's beautiful. So I don't know how I can use it. It looks quite purple looking at it now. There is a purple prompt. I don't know if I'll be able to use it for purple, but see that sometimes it looks pink, sometimes it looks purpley. I don't know if I'll get away with it, but it will be used for Year of Socks, that one. So that the actual makeup of the Drops Nord is 45% alpaca, 30% polyamide and 25% wool. So that one, and then I've bought some of this because I wanted to try it. It's by Drops, and it's called their Glitter, Drops Glitter. And this is the gold colourway, surprisingly. I think they have gold, silver, and I think there's a red for like Christmas. And it's very thin. And what it's used for is just to add sparkle to something. So, you know, like if you have sparkle socks, you can put this as an added extra instead. So I wanted to have a go at that. I thought it might be fun. And in the prompts, I'm not giving anything away by saying the prompts because they are on Denise's Instagram if you wanted to check that out. So Do Designs Instagram. And there is going to be a Star Wars / Star Trek month. I'm not a Star Wars or a Star Trek fan, but I was thinking I might be able to do something with this. We're thinking like space travel sort of thing. That's what I was thinking, just an excuse to put a bit of glitter into my life. So I bought that, and this is This is £1.75 for this, so a nice little price to just try something and have fun. The Drops Nord yarn is £2.60. They come in 50 grams and it's £2.60 per 50 grams. So to make socks, it'll be £5.20 for the 100 grams. And the zigzag was £5.69. So that's a very affordable price for the sock yarn. Okay, so let's move on to the poll results. So if you didn't see the video last week, I was asking 2 questions. First question is, how often do you wash your hand knit socks? Because it came to my attention that other people were washing their socks far less frequently than I did because of the qualities of wool, that they didn't need washing so much. I was generally washing mine every 2 to 3 wears, but I didn't know if that was okay or whether I was pushing it a bit, being socks. And also I was asking about acrylic yarn. So I was asking if you just use acrylic yarn or a mixture of natural fibres and acrylic, or if you just use natural fibres. So those were 2 of the polls, and I would like to thank you. It came as no surprise to me, to be honest, because I knew you were lovely. So yeah, of course you were going to be respectful in the comments of everyone's views, and it was really interesting, the comments, and there was a vast range of different reasons why. We'll come to that, why you use what you do. And yeah, the reason I wanted to ask these questions was to get to know you better, and I do feel I have got to know you better. Obviously everybody is complete individual. So let's do the poll first of what you like to knit with. And so I'll put it on screen. I took a little screenshot of that. We had 5% prefer acrylic only, 81% natural fibres and acrylic, and 14% only natural fibres, and there was 533 people that voted, so it was a good range of people that were answering that question. Yeah, it looks like I am Joe Average, and I'm right in the middle there with the 81% of you that I use all different fibres. So some of the reasons you gave in the comments too, and if you want to read those comments, if you go back to the last podcast, last Sunday, you will see all the comments, and there's lots and lots of comments, and they're really interesting. So, but what people were saying generally was reasons to buy acrylic. Obviously price, it's generally cheaper. Ease of washing, and also not just for yourself but also your gift knits and your charity knits. So if you're making a gift for a new mum for a baby and they're going to be washing it, makes it easier for them to wash, and also for your charity knits as well. Also, some people are either allergic or just generally don't enjoy wearing natural fibres and find them itchy, and so you prefer to have, or can only have, acrylic yarns. Reasons to use natural fibres, obviously environmental and the long-term impact of the acrylic. You prefer to have natural fibres that are going to break down naturally. Also washing, you're concerned about acrylic fibres going into the water supply. People did point out that you can get natural fibres for much more reasonable prices if you go look out for sales and de-stashes and things. There are availability, and even buying second-hand yarn in charity shops and then just pulling the project apart and reusing that as well, you can do. Also de-stashes when people are selling off yarn, that's another good thing. That's another good way of picking up cheaper yarn. And also some people prefer the look, feel of woolen items and just generally enjoy wearing them much more. So that is what some of the things that came through on that survey. Once again, I'd like to say thank you. I found it really interesting. Moving on to the second poll, and this is the one that has changed how I live. A bit more dramatic than it is, but I shall come on to that. So, how many times do you wear your hand knit socks? So we have got, before washing, so we have got once 22%, twice 17%, 3 times 35%, 4 to 6 times 18%, and over 6 times 7%. And 375 people voted. Once again, I'm Joe Average. So it seems like a lot, it seems like most people have been doing this already. So yeah, a lot of people were saying that the reason you were wearing them once and putting them in the wash is because you were just following what you were doing with your commercial socks before you started knitting, and so that's what you carried on doing. And so yeah, I think that if we take that poll in about a year, that's going to be different. There's going to be more people wearing them a lot more before washing. Which probably is going to make them last longer because they're not going through that wash process. If you're like me and you put them in the washing machine, hand washing is a lot gentler, isn't it? So that's what we should be doing. Not going to do it though. Okay, so moving on to how it's changed what I'm going to do with my socks. So I have boxes. Oh, I want to get better boxes because yeah, just moving my boxes around there falling apart. But I have in my drawers, I have 2 boxes, just old shoe boxes of socks. These are tidied up. This is how it started. Then it got to be a big mess, and so I started sorting these again. So what I've decided to do with my socks is change them seasonally, because if I'm not going to be washing them so much, and so I use all of my socks. And because I'm doing a year of socks, so this year I'm going to be knitting 12 pairs of socks, I thought it would be fun to have seasonal. So I'm going to swap them over every 3 months. So at the moment, I have got my winter socks. So I've got my winter colourway, my Christmas colourways there. And yeah, so because they're going to be washed, I've worked out, what did I work out? That if I have 12 pairs of socks and rotate them, so they start off in this box, I wear them, they go in the next box. So I have to wear every pair of socks in the box before I can start wearing them again and putting them back into this side box, because then I will know the socks that I don't wear and I don't want to keep in there. And so that way I can edit out some of the ones that I'm not wearing for some reason and find out why I'm not wearing them. So that might help when knitting. Do I, like I said about the other ones having a longer leg, do I prefer the longer leg? Is that the right length leg? What's happening about these socks that I don't enjoy? Is it just the colour or what's going on? So these are the ones I've chosen for this. And so by putting them into the other box, not only will I wear all of them and be able to sort out the ones that aren't in use, but it will also, they will all be worn. They'll be in rotation, and so they will all be worn either twice or 3 times in a month, which means that I can wash them at the end of every month in one go. And so you're thinking, well, aren't you going to wear socks on wash day? Yes, I am, because I have a wash day pair that will be separate. So because it's 3 months, this pair will have three wears, and then they will be washed with those on the 3rd month. Are you with me? And so they will be put away then. Or if I'm going to carry on wearing them for the next month, if I wanted to keep any of these for spring, like these ones, or perhaps the heart ones, any of the lighter colour that I feel are more spring-like, they can be put into the next rotation when I sort out the next ones. But then some of them I might only bring out for, say, winter or just summer. And so when they come round again, I'll be wearing them that I haven't seen for months. So I'll be more excited to wear them again. So I thought it'd be a good way, because I've been knitting socks for a good few years now, and I've got some that are about 5 years old, or maybe 6, I don't know, I can't remember now. But it'll be a way of maybe retiring some of them to make room for the ones that I enjoy more. So I think 12 would be good. Obviously, I can change this up if it's not working for me, but I do think if I have 12 pairs, the end of every month, have a wash day, wear this pair, and then, yeah, start off fresh. Because I think I'm still going to stick to my 2 to 3 times. I think that's a nice amount for me. That's what I'm comfortable with. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do with my socks. And don't they look pretty in the box, really? But as I said, this is just old shoe box. I would like to get a couple of decent boxes to put into my drawers, because these are starting to come apart. So that is how I'm going to do that. Anything else I wanted to say? And I think that's all I wanted to talk about. So it's been a very long video for me. I don't usually talk rabbit on for that long. If you've been wanting to learn to make socks, this is the year. And several years ago, I made a playlist holding your hand right the way through how to knit socks, and so I'll put this there. There are lots of different methods of how to knit socks on the internet. I use 9-inch circulars, but there's also DPNs and magic loop. I would encourage you to try all the different ways of knitting them to see what feels right for you. If you are a sock knitter already and want some ideas of some socks to knit, then I have chosen my top 10 for this year, and I've made a video there, so you can have a look at that if you haven't seen it already. But until next Sunday, bye for now. Have a lovely week.